Shalom, my name is Ben Kael Bethel Yisrael. We shall continue our discussion of the commandments and their relationship to the fact that to dress the Garden of Eden was the first commandment ever given to man, Adam. Last week, we resumed our discussion of the word dress from the perspective of the word worshiper. Our discussion centered around the significance of observing the seventh day as a day of rest to honor the memory of Yahweh for all his work which he created and made. We read Exodus chapter 20, verse 10, and learned that the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh. We told you that Sabbath in Hebrew is spelled from right to left, Shin Beit Thav, pronounced Shabbat, and it means celebrate. We told you that celebrate is synonymous to hallow, and hallow was defined as to make holy or set apart for holy use, to respect greatly. We validated that the word holy means devoted entirely to the deity. Deity was defined as God, supreme being. We asserted that Yahweh commanded Adam, his descendants, and all families of the earth to make the Sabbath of Yahweh a day that is devoted entirely to reflecting upon the deity, the supreme being Yahweh, for his creation. In addition, we learned that the Sabbath of Yahweh is to be set apart for the people of the earth to show great respect to Yahweh for all his magnificent work which he created and made. Exodus chapter 20, verse 11 was read, and we learned that not only did Yahweh bless the Sabbath day, but he also hallowed it. The words blessed and hallowed were defined, which revealed that Yahweh will confer prosperity and happiness upon us when we revere the seventh day as the Sabbath of Yahweh. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 19 through 20 shed light on the fact that devoting the Sabbath entirely to the honor of Yahweh is a sign between Yahweh and you to show that you know within your heart that Yahweh is your God. At the end of the program, we expressed to you that if you would like to start keeping the Sabbath of Yahweh according to the Holy Bible, you may order your free copy of our Shabbat Home Study Guide from Peace Foundation, P.O. Box 1768, Seguin, Texas 78155. Today, we will continue to discuss the word dress, which is synonymous to the word worshiper. All the families of the earth have been commanded to observe the seventh day as the Sabbath of Yahweh. Yahweh did not name the days of the week as we know them today. As a matter of fact, none of the days of the week, Sunday through Saturday, appear anywhere in the Holy Bible. Yet millions of people are keeping Saturday, Sunday, and so on as the Sabbath day. In order to keep the Sabbath according to Yahweh, the God of the Holy Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, we must know how to identify what constitutes the seventh day, since the seventh day is the Sabbath. First, let us establish what a day is by definition and how it is determined. According to Chambers' 21st Century Dictionary, copyright 1996, on page 340, day by definition means the period of 24 hours called the solar day, during which the earth rotates once on its axis with respect to the sun. Let's look carefully at this definition from a mathematical perspective, beginning with the period of 24 hours. What determines a 24-hour period? Let's open the Bible and turn to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 for the answer. And it reads in part, And Yahweh said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. Genesis chapter 1 verse 16 tells us what the lights are, and it reads in part, and Yahweh made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. The lights are the sun and the moon, and these lights divide the day from the night. Let's look at the word divide. As referenced in Webster's Universal College Dictionary, copyright 1997, on page 236, the word divide means to separate into equal parts by the process of mathematical division. The word day is equivalent to daytime, and daytime means the time between sunrise and sunset. This time between sunrise and sunset equals 12 hours, according to the process of mathematical division. So now, what is considered night? The Random House Webster's College Dictionary, copyright 1997, on page 884, defines night as the period of darkness between sunset and sunrise. From the definitions of day and night, we see how a 24-hour period is determined, and that is the time during which the earth rotates on its axis. By the process of mathematical division, this equals 12 hours between sunrise and sunset, day, and 12 hours between sunset and sunrise, night. Notice that time is determined by the sun, whether it is day or night. And by definition, it is called the solar day. The Random House Webster's College Dictionary on page 1228 defines solar as indicating time by means of the sun. Sun is synonymous to light. Therefore, 12 hours between sunrise and sunset is called the light, and 12 hours between sunset and sunrise is called night, thus constituting one full solar day, which is verified in Genesis chapter 1 verse 5, which reads in part, and Yahweh called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Since we now have a clear understanding of how a day is determined, let us examine the time in which a day begins by means of the sun. We have been taught all of our lives that the day begins at 12 a.m. midnight. Well, let us dispel this myth and verify when a day actually begins according to the Bible. This can be found in Genesis chapter 1 verse 5, which reads, and Yahweh called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. The day begins in the evening. The word evening is equivalent to night. And night, as we stated earlier, begins at sunset and ends at sunrise. The word morning is synonymous to daytime. And daytime, as we also stated earlier, begins at sunrise and ends at sunset. Therefore, the solar day begins at sunset and ends at sunset, which constitutes the 24-hour period during which the earth rotates once on its axis with respect to the sun. In order to keep the law of the Sabbath, we must keep it based on the day described by Yahweh, the God of the Bible. And we just read that his day is indicated by means of the sun, from sunset to sunset. If you would like to start keeping the Sabbath of Yahweh according to the Holy Bible, Then order your free copy of our Shabbat Home Study Guide today from Peace Foundation, P.O. Box 1768, Seguin, Texas 78155. Now that we understand what constitutes a day, next week we will continue to discuss dress from the perspective of worshiper and how to identify the seventh day of Yahweh according to solar time.
Who is worthy? Who is worthy to open the book? Who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof?
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. At the end of time of evil rule, the Anointed One, the Messiah, shall appear.
Now we say that Yahweh ben Yahweh is a minister of the circumcision for the truth of Yahweh, to confirm the promises made unto the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Romans chapter 15, verse 8. There is no reason to be jealous of the lost sheep of the house of Israel, for we are all the children of Yahweh by faith and obedience in Yahweh ben Yahweh. Galatians chapter 3, verse 26. Yahweh said that he would bless him that blessed Abraham, and curse him that curseth Abraham. For it is in Abraham that all families of the earth shall be blessed. Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Genesis chapter 18, verse 18. Also in Genesis chapter 22, verse 18, it states that in Abraham's seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Why? Because he obeyed the voice of Yahweh. The litmus test, indicator, or sign that we are indeed the seed of Abraham is to do the works of Abraham. John chapter 8, verse 39, who obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and also obeyed the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments of Yahweh. Genesis chapter 26, verse 5. Even as Abraham believed Yahweh, it was accounted to him for righteousness. So must all families obey the voice of Yahweh to keep his laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments. Know therefore that they which are of faith, obedience, allegiance, loyalty, and true-heartedness, the same are the children of Abraham. And the scripture, foreseeing that Yahweh would justify the heathen through faith, obedience, allegiance, loyalty, and true-heartedness, preached before unto Abraham the gospel, all families, which is the good news of the kingdom of Yahweh, heaven, saying, in you shall all nations be blessed. Galatians chapter 3, verses 6 through 8. Nevertheless, let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. For Yahweh is not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33.
Because the lost sheep of the house of Israel are spiritually sick, lepers, full of the devil, lame, blind, deaf, dumb, ignorant, and dead, Yahweh ben Yahweh is commanding us, his disciples, to go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter not, but to go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel first. He is commanding us that as we go, we must publish, saying, the kingdom of Yahweh, heaven, is at hand. He is commanding us to heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, and to cast out the devil. Matthew chapter 10, verses 5 through 8. Notwithstanding that Yahweh ben Yahweh is not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel, as written in Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, yet all families that have faith, obedience, allegiance, loyalty, and true-heartedness in Yahweh ben Yahweh will be made whole as promised in Matthew chapter 15, verse 28.